we start watching natives or animals in the jungle, how do we do it? If we're watching a native tribe, do we walk up to right next to their fire and with a camera and just start videotaping them? Or do we stand as far away as we possibly can with binoculars and telescope lenses and catch them like that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, who's to say they're not doing the same thing with us?
Yeah.
You know, when we find animals that we want to follow, we tag and number them. Who's to say we're not having that done with abductions and things like that? I don't know, but it seems like they're using the same methods we would use if that's the case. You know, what was it, back in May or April? Remember there was a tribe they found in
I think it was Brazil. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fascinating
and remember
pictures.
The helicopter shot going over, they were looking up, confused, throwing arrows at us and stuff like this. Well, isn't that kind of us?
Yeah.
You know, aren't we the guys down on the ground, you know, dressed up in grass skirts, looking up, going, I don't understand that thing up there.
Well, I don't wear grass skirts, Train.
Well, I look really good in one.
Oh, well, no, but they were fascinating pictures, actually. Not to change the topic, but to see that lost
tribe. But it was exactly what we were doing. I think Stan said something one time. This is just like the fleet, the ships arriving in the New World, except this time we're the Indians standing on the shore watching.
Yeah.
And that to me makes the most sense. Is we're looking at this and not completely comprehending what we're seeing. You know, and they're doing things. People think, how can they get these abilities to fly like this? Well, you know, we've only been flying for 100 years, and we're still using the same technology we basically used with the Wright brothers.
But look at how far. See, my point always that I like to make is you're absolutely right. We have been only flying for 100 years, but look how far we've come.
Right,
Granted,
exactly.
Some things are just, you know, exactly the same, but others we landed probes on Mars. We've landed on the moon. I mean,
right. In 100 years, we've gone from here to other planets.
Exactly. So if a civilization has 1,000-year head start on us, which is no time at all,
right? Exactly. Or 1,000,000 years.
Exactly.
1,000,000 years. You know, and they'd be using technology that we would see as magic. This is the thing. If I had a TV set, a high-def TV set 100 years ago, they would look at me and think, well, probably burn me at the stake, because they'd think, you know, what magic is this guy bringing? And it's just something we can't understand. You can only process what you see through the things you know.
Mm-hmm.
And we're processing it through looking at it without understanding there's probably ways to travel that we haven't figured out yet. Nobody kind of figured the difference between the vacuum tube and the transistor.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a natural progression. It's a quantum leap. Who's to say that the next quantum leap in travel will be something we've never considered before?
One of the greatest pleasures for me working in television, one of many, I should say, but is talking with Dr. Michio Kaku, who I hope to have on the show fairly shortly.
I am so jealous, by the way. We've had fights trying to get to see him.
Yeah, he's a wonderful human being, absolutely super intelligent, and I bring him up because he is in my next show for the History Channel on the series called The Universe. As far as I know, it is going to be kicking off the season that starts in November, season 3, and my episode will be kicking it off. I interviewed Dr. Kaku to hear what he has to say about all these advanced theories and stuff. It's beyond comprehension. It's amazing and really makes you think. Mr. Duane Tudahl coming back, I should say, right after this break. Time is flying by here on the Black Vault Radio, so stay tuned. Welcome back to the Black Vault Radio. I am your host, John Greenwald Jr. Duane Tudahl, you've been an exciting guest. I'm glad to finally have you on and hear your personal thoughts about your journey in production with the UFO topic and so on. And got to learn quite a few things about you that I have yet to learn, so I'm excited about that. But one question that I do want to ask you is that after everything that you've seen and everything that you've done and all the people that you've met, one of the biggest debates here on the Black Vault Radio, and the biggest question that I always ask those involved in this topic, whether in production or in investigations, is, do you think the government will ever come clean, or do they have anything to come clean about, a.k.a. disclosure? What do you think?
Short answer, no. I don't think that I think that there's all kinds of things coming out when it comes to people, but none of them are related to government. You don't see the government kind of inching toward it any more than you did 10 years ago, really, as far as I can tell. They're just as secretive. They're just as private. I think that the government's stand on a lot of this stuff is we don't care what you say, it's what you can prove.
Yeah.
And until there's something that can be proved, and even then, it's the government's word, and the government's got a lot of ability to hide things and change evidence. And I'm not a conspiracy guy at all. I mean, I'm really not one of these guys that walks around thinking the government's tapping me and reading my brain waves or anything.
Did you hear those clicks, by the way, when you just said that? Did you hear all those clicks on your phone?
Yeah, why?
Okay, no reason, just checking. Sorry,
okay,
continue.
Just checking. I don't think that. I think the government's got bigger things to deal with. That's funny, but I don't think it's in their best interest. Why would they come out with something?
Mm-hmm.
Because if they do, they'll have to basically expose every person that was involved with this throughout the past 60 years.
Yeah.
And I think it would change a lot of how we trust the government and everything like that. I don't picture that happening. I picture that maybe there's people that want to do it. Maybe every new president says, I'm going to talk about this, and then he gets set aside, told, well, this is what you need to know, this is what you can know, this is what you can talk about, and this is what you... And I don't think they even know. I really don't think the president even knows all the details, because why would they have to?
Right.
They're in a temporary position.
And before we run out of time, one thing I want to bring up is our experience going to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base on a show you headed up on Hangar 18, which you briefly mentioned before. If as producers we do our job and do our job right, and we treat them right, they really did welcome us with open arms to one of the biggest conspiracies in the UFO field, that the Roswell aliens are at Hangar 18 at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and they let us in. Granted, we couldn't shoot in some areas, but we had a great time over there. So in fairness to them, I think they're trying to be open with it. Maybe they don't know. Do you think there's a chance that they just don't know?
I think there's a huge chance they don't know. I think the people we interviewed there at was it Colonel Andrews?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. As I recall. Anyway, he to me was Colonel Andrew Weaver was his name. He was the installation commander. He had a great sense of humor about the UFOs. Mm-hmm. He had things around his office, and he just told us, though, going in, I will not talk about UFOs. My guess is the people that know, if this stuff is true, the people that know are a very select group. I don't know if it's the MJ-12 group, but I think there's a very select group, so that way there's deniability. That if these people know, there's not a lot of people outside of that really know all the details.
Yeah.
And so the people that don't kind of also treat it as a little bit of a goof. I mean, they were laughing a little bit about it at Wright-Patterson, but were very good and gave us a PR tour.
Yeah. And Duane, I hate to interrupt you, but we are out of time. Yeah, we flew by. Duane, I wanted to thank you. You got to kind of have you back so you can finish not only this story, but there's tons more to talk about.
I would love that. I got all dressed up for this interview, and I don't see the camera.
You look great on the telephone.
Thank you.
Mr. Duane Tudahl, writer, director, producer here in Hollywood, California. Duane, thank you so much. I'm so sorry that we ran out of time.
Sure.
We'll definitely bring you back. We'll continue our fun stories. And thank you all for listening to the Black Vault Radio and making BVRN your podcast network of choice. We'll see you next time right here on the Black Vault Radio. Hey, don't go away. After we recorded with Duane Tudahl, we decided to do a second hour. That's how much fun we had. It's coming your way right now on BVRN, the Black Vault Radio Network. From the bizarre world of the paranormal to the sinister secrets of the U.S. government, the Black Vault has become known worldwide as the premier spot for anything and everything conspiracy. Now, join me, John Greenwald Jr., as we dive into the research together in hopes to decipher these mysteries. This is the Black Vault Radio. That's right, this is the Black Vault Radio. I am your host, John Greenwald Jr., thanking you for making the Black Vault your podcast of choice. Joining me on the air is Mr. Duane Tudahl. This is part 2 of an interview that the last time we had Duane on, we completely ran out of time, and I had to cut Duane off, but we were having such a great time. I think the 1-hour show seemed like, 12 and a half minutes, Duane?
Yeah.
Duane, thank you so much for joining me again, agreeing to do a second hour.
Sure, nice to be back.
It's great to have you back, and wanted to really just kind of reintroduce you to those of you